Good morning. Welcome to our Sunday meditation. Thank you for joining me today. We're going to continue with our mindfulness basic anchors. So far, we've covered the body, breath, the body scan, and last week we took a dive into thoughts and emotions as well as listening. So we have 5 different anchors in circulation at this point. Let's begin by getting into the mindful body. Think of it as putting on a really comfortable pair of shoes. Strong and straight, but easy. At this point in our practice, associating this posture with a sense of turning inward, a sense of inner strength, a sense of pride and confidence in the work that we're doing together and in the accomplishments we're making. And just inhaling deeply for a few moments to hold that posture. If you notice any place where you are collecting tension, let's release it. So we're looking for that balance between strength in the body, strong support, but letting go of something that's clenched tight. For me, it's usually the hands or the belly. The jaw, definitely the jaw. And inhaling deeply as we continue to straighten and yet relax. Noticing what's a little creaky on a Sunday morning. Let's take a moment to enjoy the difference, the contrast between tense shoulders, scrunch them up tight towards your ears. Inhale, and upon the exhalation, allow them to relax fully. Let's try that again. Inhale, clench, tense, lift, and then allow it to relax. It is a strange part of our cognition that we learn through contrast, but we absolutely do. So the relaxation and tension poles can be very helpful in doing a body scan meditation. We will only understand what it feels like to be relaxed once we know what tension feels like. And let's not fight that. Let's roll with that. That's part of our human nature. Sometimes we learn through mistakes, and let's be compassionate for how we are. As we develop skill, we can start learning through grace instead of suffering. So we take more learning from less painful experiences as we develop more skill and commitment to ourselves. As we learn to be more present with ourselves and get to know ourselves better. Before we approach our main meditation topic today, let's cycle through the various anchors we've been working with, reminding ourselves that our practice, rather than emptying our minds to become one with ourselves or the universe, is actually about focusing on tiny minutiae, developing the power of focus and concentration, developing the skill to have equanimity with what we observe and compassion for what we observe and feel. Taking a deep breath, let's listen for sounds within. Maybe your tummy is gurgling or a little upset from too much indulgence yesterday, or just uncomfortable. And just noticing that, noticing the sounds of the inhalation and exhalation, any sounds we may make fidgeting in our chairs or beds, or just moving our body parts, our feet and hands. Noticing the sounds of chewing and swallowing. Maybe your ears are popping. And all these small little moments. Using this tiny anchor to drill into our ability to focus upon ourselves, to sit with ourselves, to stick with our minutiae in a way we would never bother with outside of practice. And noticing as we continue to do that, how things seem to slow down. And little things like the sound of the fridge next to me or the furnace seem to be so much louder than I normally notice when I'm busy. When I'm stuck in my head doing work or when I'm listening to the TV. And finally, extending our awareness to sounds outside our practice room. Perhaps you can notice the sounds of animals or traffic on the street or in homes or apartments near yours. I think I hear birds up there. Yay. Again, reminding ourselves to breathe and stretching up the mindful body. And just noticing whatever thoughts and emotions rise. Perhaps this seems boring. This seems like a waste of time. Perhaps you're anxious to get on to the next thing, and this is just one thing you're doing to cross off your list. Yes, been there, done that. Absolutely. Notice and accept. So here's the special intention for today's meditation. And as we continue through the year, the intentions for our practice will usually come from the group of participants. So someone will send in an idea or a thought or a concern, and then we'll host a practice based on that issue. So please do feel free to send in your ideas and anything you may be interested in learning or that you are struggling with personally right now. I am part of a prayer circle that has asked for an intention to pray daily to transform thoughts of envy and revenge into love and forgiveness. And this prayer group felt that these two kind of low points in our human existence, where we feel envious of people around us with more stuff or more fame or more power, and also where we are compelled to take revenge on those around us for tiny infractions, whether it's our kids for not listening, or our partner, or just strangers on the road who make a mistake and cut us off. We may feel compelled to be vengeful and angry. So rather than praying for the world to be less envious and less vengeful, let's look within, because this all starts from our tiny experiences. And so just calling to mind any experiences in our own lives where we hold envy, and maybe we're kind of embarrassed about that. Let it surface. Once we can sit with it and it surfaces, then it passes as well. If we are committed to doing something higher and greater than being envious of those around us. But if we are suppressing that, then it takes hold in insidious, unconscious ways. So let it come up. It's always better to know. As well, calling to mind any circumstances or events where we have been prompted to take revenge. And these are going to be, little ones in our day-to-day living. Let's hold those up for insight, for examination, for compassion, for clarity. And as each instance arises, breathing in to hold our attention with it rather than to deny how unpleasant it might feel. And then exhaling to release that attachment to envy and revenge from our own consciousness. Again, continuing to breathe, to listen, to hold the body strong and straight, and to keep the mind accountable and committed to this important job we have of releasing envy and vengefulness. For our spiritual students, these are such loaded concepts because we, of course, don't want to feel envy or be vengeful. And it's hard to look at it and see it. So sitting with this nakedness of our inner darkness can be pretty unsettling. And it is always better to be honest and breathe through it, allow it to come up, because then it passes. In next week's practice, we're going to sit with the root causes of our need to be envious and vengeful. And usually it has to do with not feeling safe, not feeling like we have enough to be safe or to protect our loved ones, and not feeling safe among others makes us want to be vengeful. So we're going to be exploring these concepts next week in our practice. For now, let's call to mind circumstances. And I invite you to continue doing this over the week. If you are able, please journal. And if you don't have time for journaling, then think about it while you're driving, while you're doing something else, vacuuming, riding an elevator. With each inhalation, we offer ourselves the strength to sit with our painful, dark thoughts and feelings. And with each exhalation, we commit to releasing what doesn't serve our highest and best. It's time to wrap up our practice. Thank you for meeting with me today for this very fruitful exercise. I invite you to continue to explore this topic on your own this week. And just honoring the commitment to how important it is for us as individuals to release both envy and any thirst for revenge. If we want to be peacemakers in our own lives, let alone serving the wider community and the world. Thank you for meeting with me today. Have a wonderful Sunday.